I went for a walk tonight and I started thinking about many of the things that I usually think about, such as my place in the world, such as the efforts that I make to make the world a better place and to contribute. I started thinking about truth. I started thinking about reality and the nature of reality, metaphysics. I started thinking about all of these intense things, and one of the things that I thought about was philosophy, and specifically the form of philosophy. And I was thinking about how the form of philosophy itself is in many ways very, very humbling. I was thinking in general of humility and of humbling yourself. And I was doing this because I was thinking about how important humility is to the process of living and to the process of creativity, through the process of breakthroughs and enlightenment and the like. And I was thinking about how sometimes it's very easy for us um, to not have humility towards the things that we should have humility towards. So this includes things that we um, have expectations towards, for instance. And basically, I was starting to think about how it's really about a posturing towards our circumstances in life, towards our place in life, towards other people. And I was thinking of this because I was thinking of my negative interactions with people, or some of my negative interactions, and how hard it's been, and how painful it's been, and how frustrating it's been, and how it's alienated me in many ways and made me feel isolated. But I started thinking about how these negative interactions, despite how important interactions are with others in our worldview and in how we see the world, they shouldn't be the only justification for how we see the world. And they shouldn't be the only thing that justify our worldview. And so when I started thinking about this, I started thinking about philosophy itself and what philosophy itself is really good at doing. And when you look at philosophy, um, you can see philosophy as thought, as cognition. Some philosophers would certainly disagree with this approach. I'm sure the analytic tradition would have a lot to say about that. But I see philosophy as thought. I see it as the complexity of thought, and I see it as a kind of expression of thought. I also see philosophy as a search, and I see philosophy in general as a way of asking the big questions, a way of wondering what's possible. And in general, logic is a little bit different from philosophy in the sense that logic is about tight reasoning, tight thinking, airtight thinking, essentially, but how philosophy is a little bit looser because it really wants to ask the questions. And what I noticed about philosophy in terms of the form is that you can't really reduce philosophy, such as philosophy by Fichte, for instance, or Kant, or the existentialist philosophers such as Sartre and Nietzsche. You can't reduce their philosophy to one or two simple claims. Now, if you were applying logic to them, where you were trying to create perfect premises that lead to a conclusion, then of course you would have valid statements and you would have specific statements. But it seems that because philosophy is, in a sense, thought, especially when you get to some of these complex philosophers, it seems that philosophy can't really be reduced to simple statements. And some would argue against that as well. Some would say that you can reduce these complex philosophies to simple statements. I would say that, though, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because it leads me to my main point. And my main point is that what philosophy does and the role of philosophy is to humble us. And it's to humble us before the mysteries of existence, humble us before the mysteries of thought itself, humble us towards all of the things we don't understand, humble us towards our own ethical virtues and our own system of ethics, and asking the question of what should we do and how should we live and what is the good life. And it's humbling us and allowing us to figure things out in a much more relaxed environment in a way that gets us simply thinking. And so my main statement or my main idea, my conclusion would be this idea that the point of philosophy is to humble us by showing the complexity of thought that actually exists and to show us the possibilities. So in philosophy, the study of possibility is called modality, and modality is a good word to use to describe kind of what I mean because I'm asking what's possible. And philosophy shows us what's possible, and it shows us that a lot of things are possible. And because it shows us that a lot of things are possible, then it means that we must humble ourselves towards all of these things. Um, and we must humble ourselves because we will never understand everything that actually exists. And it's interesting how I got to this train of thought, thinking about the role of philosophy and what it does, especially when I was thinking about just more simple things. But that's how I see philosophy and what it does. Of course, there's other functions that it has, but those are some of the main ones. I hope that you enjoyed this talk, and this is Phoenix. Thank you.